Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here with you once again. I think this is probably my third or fourth video today to post. And I'm getting ready to go to bed, so naturally you have been on my mind all day. And I can't think of going to bed without you still being on my mind. And since it's so important to me, you're not just on my mind, but some answer comes to me about the problems that human beings experience. And so I wanted to take a last effort to share with you on those last little thoughts. You know, I'm constantly talking to you about God and God's love for you and how much it means to God and what He has prepared for you and the reasons why you aren't receiving it and what you must do to receive it. I remember a few years ago, I used to work as a counselor with the Veterans Administration. It was during the Vietnam era, when guys were coming back from Vietnam and they needed benefits. They needed to know what the government had to offer them. They wanted to know what was available for disabilities, and if somebody really lost their lives, they wanted to know what the survival benefits were. And we had a whole bunch of things that we did for the government in relationship to that period of time. And it was during that period of time when I had gotten a lot of exposures to some of the pains and suffering that some of these families that were of the vets, and it kind of bothered me because there was something deep inside of me that said things did not have to be this way, and that if people knew better, they could do better. And so I decided to start working at the Veterans Administration because I understood that if you're having a good life, and life wasn't that extraordinary, but it was a pretty good life, you don't have time to think too much about other people's problems. And I say that knowing that mine was rooted up as a child, growing up in the South, raised by some great-grandparents who had some connection with slavery, who brought me up in such a way that people mattered. And so even though I was living an okay life, still people mattered. In fact, my ex-wife, who decided that once I decided to leave the VA, that she didn't want to have anything to do with me, especially since I made the decision to stop being a counselor and started washing storefront windows. That was a big drop. And I did that because I recognized, again, that when you're having a good life, you're not really thinking about people who are not. You see them and you hope that they would do better. You find all kinds of excuses for them not doing better, but you never deal with the realities of it. So I made that decision. Now, some major things happened having to make that decision, ladies and gentlemen. That was the time, about 40 years ago, that I keep telling you about going into the wilderness. Going off into the wilderness of life to deal with situations that perhaps I had not dealt with before in the capacity that I was going to be exposed to in these 40 years. And I went, ladies and gentlemen, I went across this country and I carried forward the message that I've been carrying for that 40 years. Getting people to recognize that God was more than what they had been presented. That God required more of them to do the things that represented God. And I tell you, I had no success as far as moving people off that front line that they were on. All I was doing was learning. So it seems to me that all of those 40 years were about learning. And what did I learn? I learned exactly what I just got through telling you. People who got something, they like you. But do they like you enough to take a risk on turning maybe losing what they got for you? There is no way on the face of the sun. They don't mean to be mean. It's just that that's the way it is with the limited knowledge that they have. See, they don't have knowledge. I heard somebody say once that in the Garden of Eden, that forbidden fruit that you were supposed to stay away from was knowledge. Because what comes with knowledge? Knowledge comes the possibility. You heard somebody say, my people suffer because of a lack of knowledge. Knowledge gives you an opportunity to run across the truth. And the truth will undoubtedly free you. And so what I do, ladies and gentlemen, even now, when I can tell you that people across this country who are not going through the same kinds of pains that you're going through, even if they're going through some of them, are not going to relinquish that for you. And that is why when I talk about the churches and the people in the churches, I know them too. I've had 40 years to learn about them. They don't care about you. Oh, they want to fix a soup line because they've been convinced that they're doing God's will. Now, I'm not going to say that anything that's given to help anybody is a blessing, and God is grateful for that. And I would gather that perhaps that's why those countries have not been overcome so far, is because the little niceties that you can do. But the reality of that, ladies and gentlemen, is those niceties still represent good. But the reason that you're able to do them is because it does not threaten the society as we know it today. It doesn't threaten Satan. It doesn't threaten the devil. It makes you feel that you're doing some good, that you are extending your services as a representation of God, and God is proud of you, and God is pleased with you. But at the same time, what you're doing is you're handcuffing God. And I tell you these messages, and you might ask, well, why do I constantly do it? Well, what I also recognize in the streets out there, ladies and gentlemen, is this, is that the way God has been presented to people, most folks out in the street don't want to hear anything about God. People say stuff like, why does God allow this to happen? Why does God allow this person to get sick? Why does God allow these atrocities to happen to people? Well, they don't understand, and people don't tell them and explain it to them in a way that perhaps they can understand, is that we are here on earth. God has put us here, but we're not robots. God has given us choice. Some of us might want good and love. Some of us might want bad and evil, you see. So that is the decision that is made by the individual. God bless those who choose God. The other one bless those who choose the other one, because the other one lied, cheat, and steal to get what he wants, and he get it from the people that supports it and from those who don't support it. And so I still go to them and I share the message with them because God loves them. And the hope is that maybe even though they are on the other side, even though they decide to work with evil, that hearing that even in their situation, God loves them enough to send a guy like me over and share this information, whether they accept it or not. The message is coming to them just like it's coming to you. And they do still have a choice. And they usually keep that choice that they've already made. Every now and then somebody else might decide to change. The message that I'm giving to you, ladies and gentlemen, is still a choice that you have to make. You are in the position that you're in because you have chosen not to stand up for God. And you don't stand up for God because God doesn't live in you. If God lived in you, God would be real to you. And by that being true, then you couldn't help but reflect God. And the society out there would know it, because the things that God can't stand, you won't be able to stand. And the things that God don't want to put up with, you won't put up with it. And so this is all that it is about. It's about giving everybody a choice, a real choice. And so I bring this message to you, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who will, make that choice. Because here's the key. If you make the choice to hang with Satan, then Satan's going to run your life. If you're standing straddle the fence, Satan's going to run your life. Every now and then some good little thing might happen to you, but you have not made the choice for God. So what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, make the choice for God. You see, this is a great big country. And it seems like today everything is stacked against the people. You got all of the senators. When I say all of them, it seems that way. I'm sure there are a few that are not stacked against you. Same for the House of Representatives. And many of them don't even know what's going on. They go in there bold with their chest stuck out talking about they're going to represent you, only to find out when they got a brick wall to go up against. And sometimes they just come out and leave the Senate, leave the House of Representatives, and sometimes they try to stay on in there for one reason or another. But you, my friends, stay in the same place, you always lose. So you have to make that choice. You have to decide that expression that says born again, meaning recognizing that you got a lot of trash fed in your mind, a lot of trash felt in your heart. You got to dump that stuff and allow something brand new to come in. If it's nothing but a hope that things are going to be all right. And identify the things that you see that's wrong that you want to be right, like your job, like you hope that things change so people can have education. You hope things change so people can have health care, food, clothing, and shelter. You hoping that these things, and that's the foundation for your emptying that trash out and allowing possibly for that to come into you. Now, the military does not work for you. Military does not work for God. This government does not work for God. They work for the adversary. They work for the Antichrist. They work for the devil. They work for the Satan. They don't want to say that because they don't want to say that they are part of the devil's plan. But the actions prove that they are. So that military, your sons and your daughters, your fathers and your mothers are part of. They are working against you if you're standing up for what's right. If you're standing up for what's decent. Now, they don't understand because they have been told that being committed to your country, that is standing for what's right. Nah, they're saying standing up, putting your life on the line, being a patriot is what's right. That's crap, ladies and gentlemen. All of that is anti-God. Every bit of it is anti-God. It's founded on the foundation. Its foundation, should I say, is anti-God. But I want you to know, without a shadow of doubt, collectively as people of God, collectively as people whose heart have opened to receive the Spirit, who stands up for what is right, don't you worry about the military. Oh, they got all the weapons, and you probably got none. You might have some guns that's representative of the Second Amendment. But chances are, your love won't even allow you to shoot a person, won't allow you to take a person's life. I'm telling you, don't you worry about that. If you are standing up and your life represents God, God got your back. God got your back. And there's not a military on the face of the earth, there's not a nuclear bomb on the face of the earth that can outwit God. I'm trying to tell you, God is your protection. What? You talking about people having bodyguards? If you individually and collectively are about God, God is your protection. God got your back, your front, your side, your top, and your bottom. And I promise you, that story you heard about the Red Sea, Moses taking the children out of Egypt land and crossing the sea, and people tell you that's not true, that that is just something to give people something to talk about. I want you to know this. That may never have happened. I'm not saying it didn't. That may never have happened. But this I do know. If God wanted it to happen, it can happen. Somebody say there was no way that Jesus was born without a man engaging himself with Mary. You say what you want to say. And I'm not saying that it didn't happen the way it's been described. But this much I am saying, because this much I do know. If God wanted every last one of you to come into this world without a seed being planted from a man to a mother's womb, I guarantee you it would have been just as easy as it is already. So what I'm saying to you is this. God can do all things. God can do more than that. And God can do what is necessary to protect you from the evils of this world. But it's because you make the choice. If you don't make the choice, it's like God interfering into your business. You know you don't want anybody in your business. If you want to be a demon, you don't want anybody interfering with you. If you want to be a liar, a cheater, a stealer, you don't want anyone interfering with your business. So God gonna stay out of your business until you decide to change, like the prodigal son. Then God will get in your business because He's invited into your business because you have invited God into your life. And my friends, you can have no better protector. Thank you.